What's happening, everybody? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Monday. Happy Motivational Monday. Y'all are back rocking with your girl Tap at the Cemetery today for another amazing interview on In My City. And y'all know this is where we interview extraordinary people making extraordinary moves in an extraordinary way. And today, among other days, is no different. Today, we have a very, very special guest sitting with me and chatting with me today. He allowed me to get in a little bit of his business, shall we say. Author, publisher, illustrator. He's amazing, amazing, amazing man. You guys, let me introduce to you Mr. Jermain Smith.
Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. How was your
Absolutely.
day today?
Oh, pretty good. Listen, when you came on and I was having a good day today, but it became ridiculously extraordinary when you came on with that huge energy of yours. Are you always that way?
Um, I guess, yeah. I guess.
That's all right. What matters is you're that way today on the show today. I hope you're having an amazing day today. So let's talk about you for a moment. Tell me about your background. Where are you from?
So I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was born on Quincy. That's where Biggie Smalls blew up in the '90s on Quincy and Bedford. And I was born in a historical place, but I my parents are from Jamaica, so I have Jamaican roots and Jamaican background. So I'm American Jamaican,
I hear the New
born in
York.
Brooklyn, New York.
I hear all of it. I hear all of it. Every last bit. Y'all, my New Yorkers, there. You're happy now, somebody that's really and
You have
truly
to
from New
big up
York.
yourself, you know. You have to big up yourself sometimes. You feel me?
That's right. Absolutely. That's right. So tell me about growing up, young Jermain Smith in New York when you're younger. Tell me about growing up there.
So growing up, I always had a fascination with drawing, and I remember, my parents moved here as poor immigrants and worked hard to build something for themselves. And so what I would do for money is I would draw. I see that all of the kids loved Dragon Ball Z. It was one of the big show, and I used to draw the pictures, and they're like, "Oh, can I have that picture?" So my first entrepreneur experience, probably when I was about like 8 years old, I would draw Vegeta, Goku, and then I would sell it for 50 cents in the park. And I would sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, I'll give you a quarter, and then I'll give it back to you later." And I would sometimes I didn't get it back, but I still got something for the artwork. And then other times, I would get the full 50 cents. So I remember after a week of just selling my own artwork, I was able to buy a blue slushy icy, and it felt so good because I know that I worked hard for it, and I was only 8 years old, but I was actually my first entrepreneur experience. I just wanted to have my own money, and I was like, you know what? I like to draw. Let me sell some of my artwork.
So you had let's get a little bit more into detail in regards to growing up. You had a an incident that happened. Was it March 23rd?
Yes, actually,
Tell
it
me
was.
about that. Tell
Yes.
me about that.
So March 23rd, I wrote a best-selling book about it. It's called Healing Toxic Situations, where I talk about like what I had to go through and what I had to transition. So I was always that entrepreneur kid. So when I was in high school, it was no different. I wanted money in my pocket, and when we used to go to Costco, we'd get some candy, and I would sell M&Ms, Reese's, and things like that. And so they tried to rob me, and they hit me in the head with a gun, and all of that other stuff. But I talk about it, in Fox 34. So I have some news articles on it about it, and I also talk about all of the um, experiences that I went through in that
Mm,
book that I collaborated with in Healing Toxic Situation. I
mm,
was one of the co-authors for that book, but it was a very trying time, but that time just brought me closer to God. It gave me a stronger faith. It made me rely on Him more. And, I'm a miracle. So I'm great. Every day above ground is great. And I wish I could thank my enemies because they set me up for my blessing.
Mm. Ooh, we don't you start that. Don't you start it. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Don't you start me up in here today. And you know what, sometimes things like that, for you to be able to say, that shows the growth within you as a man, to say now today, hey, I wish I could thank my enemies that did this to me because they set me up for success. And that takes a lot of growth in itself, that some people, ooh, you bet, we're gonna move on past that.
Okay.
So from this incident, you once this happened, and being on disability, how did this affect you mentally? I know you're trying not to talk about it because it's in his book, and we're not trying to give away details because we want you to get the book. So explain to me how this was, in fact, to how it pertains to your mental health when you were going through this ordeal, where I know you couldn't work a 9 to 5.
Yeah, I mean, it was really tough, but I feel like it was setting me up for greater purpose.
Mhm.
But it was really, really difficult, for a couple of years. I couldn't go on a subway or take any regular type of transportation
Mhm.
because it would affect like my balance and things of that sort. It was just physical therapy and home, physical therapy and home. So that was really, 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 really tough for me. But I had a moment of clarity where God spoke to me and God gave me a vision for my life. And that is what changed everything, because a person without a vision will perish. And I didn't have a vision in that particular time of my life. I was just trying to survive and get through the struggle. But when God gave me a vision and the Lord told me to write a book, I said, okay, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to be obedient. And, I had fun during the process of like creating it and everything like that. So my life started to pick up once I had that moment where God spoke to me and told me, I want you to write a book. And I was obedient to the calling, and I've been promoting my book for 3.5 years. So
Now, is this the Brooklyn astronaut book that we're talking about, or
yeah,
the book in
yes,
regard? That's what we're discussing. Well,
yes,
I
yes.
can't
The
wait to
other,
get
the
to
other
that.
book that I was talking about, I'm so sorry to confuse you.
That's okay.
Healing toxic situations. No, healing toxic. Yes, healing toxic situations. That was a book that I did with Letitia Nicole. I was a co-author of that book, and I gave my testimony about how God brought me through those difficult times where I
Mm,
was struggling
mm,
with my
yeah.
health and things like that, struggling with my physical health, and even with like mentally, it was struggling with keeping a sane mind.
Mm,
So many people would have probably lost their minds if they went through a situation like that. I was on bed rest for 2 years. Just I slept 18 hours a day on bed rest for 2 years. That's all I did.
mm,
So I talk about that in that book that I
yeah.
did
Yeah.
with Letitia Nicole as a co-author, giving my testimony on how God delivered me. The book that the Lord wanted me to put out is Brooklyn Astronaut, something for the kids, something for the youth, so that kids could believe in themselves. They could understand the importance of mentorship, positive family values, and just believing in themselves, having more confidence.
And so that is the Brooklyn astronaut. So how did you come up with the title? Of course, we know where you're from. So how did you manage to? I guess I probably just, of course.
So the way I came up with the title, so originally I was thinking about Brooklyn Moon, and I was like, no, there's a restaurant in Brooklyn called Brooklyn Moon. You can't use Brooklyn Moon. And I said, I want to be original anyway. So I was like, well, what is it? I'm trying to inspire the youth to dream big, have a dream that's bigger than themselves. So I said, okay, what's bigger? Biggie Smalls used to say the sky is the limit, right? But the sky is just the beginning. So
Facts.
I started to think about space and outer space. And I said, you know what? Brooklyn astronaut. He's gonna go to the moon. That's his journey. Brooklyn astronaut Jamal's journey to the moon. He's gonna go to the moon, but he's an astronaut. He's like that's a huge dream. There's only a few people who's actually been on the moon. So I wanted to do something that couldn't be repeated. You know, I want to inspire the youth to do something that can't be repeated. You know, that can have a positive impact on a lot of people's lives. So I said, Brooklyn astronaut, Jamal's journey to the moon. And I actually got the inspiration for Jamal. I actually have a friend named Jamal. He was actually the inspiration for it, you know. So it was just, you know, a childhood friend. We're still friends to this day. And yeah, he actually inspired the name and everything. But that's how I came up with it. Limitless. That's the whole goal.
So the age range of the Brooklyn astronaut, what would you say is the age range for the book itself?
Some of my customers, because when I first printed the book in 2017, 18, I was so excited. I just went outside and I started selling to strangers. I even had a stranger give me $40 for a couple of books in the street. I was just outside. One of my customers, his son was 5 years old, and he said, my son loved the book. I gave my son a book and he enjoyed it. So I would say, you know, from 5 to 10 or 5 to 12, you know. My niece is 12 and she loves the book. So
I'm 40 and I loved a little bit of the excerpt that I read, a little couple. I'm 40 and I love it. So you don't put no age. I don't care what age you put on it. I'm going to read it because I love pictures. You are the illustrator in the book?
Yes, I did the artwork as well. You know, I would go to the coffee shop and sometimes I would go by the Brooklyn Bridge. I would just go to different places. When I actually drew the cover for the book, I went down to the Brooklyn Paramount where is the water and everything like that. And I kind of just sketched the landscape. And I was like, I wanted to have like a native Brooklyn feel. You know, I didn't really see any other children's books created in Brooklyn with that Brooklyn native New York feel. And I wanted it to have that feel. So when I went to draw the cover, I went by the water and I sketched everything out and I drew it right there outside. I never did it inside. It was always outside somewhere in the scenery.
And that's where your inspiration come from.
Yes.
That's pretty dope. Let me ask you, I know this is it's still on subject, but it's impromptu. Do you have the book with you now to show everybody the cover?
Oh, I left it in the house. I should have, you know what? I should have had it. I was such in a rush and trying to get ready and prepare everything, and the Wi-Fi started to misbehave a little bit.
Listen, it's all right. I'm going to put it up along with this once we're done anyway, so everybody can see it, and we're going to help you promote that. So no worries at all. Let me ask you, thus far, how has it been like through the whole entire process of writing the Brooklyn astronaut all the way up until now? How has the process been with you, especially given COVID? Did that stop anything for you?
In the beginning, when COVID-19 hit, you know, I kept hearing it over and over and over on the news. And I was like, this ain't gonna stop nothing. If the world gonna end, I'm gonna go out with a bang, you know. And I was still promoting. I was like, I turned the news off. I said, I'm not putting any of that negativity in my head. Ooh. I kind of like put blinders on. And I was like, I gotta guard my heart right now from what is going on in the world, and I just kind of closed the door in and focus, you know.
So it didn't stop nothing at all then.
it was depressing, you know. I'm a sports guy and the NBA shut down. So I wasn't able to watch basketball or my favorite sports, you know. So it was depressing. And then my favorite basketball player, Black Mamba, rest in power, Kobe Bryant, you know, that hurt me. I cried when he passed away. I love
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
So it was, it was sad and a little, down in the beginning part. But then I said, I've sacrificed too much. I've worked too hard. And if I'm gonna go through pain, I'm gonna see to the end because I got to get a reward for it.
I
And
know that's right.
that was my mindset, is that I need to get a reward for my pain. And that was like my strong why. My strong why is I'm building a future for myself and for other kids to for them to be in a world where it's safe for them to dream. And I'm not gonna allow anything to deter me. So I got like, it's like going to the gym. You go to the gym, you want to get a reward for that workout that you're putting in. So I needed a reward because I put too much time, too much hours, too much sacrifice,
Mm.
and that just kept me going. I said, I just got to keep going. I ran into a lot of roadblocks. It wasn't easy. I
Mm.
ran into a lot of roadblocks, but I'm a person of faith. So I'm not perfect. I'm not religious, but I'm a
Mm.
person of faith.
Thanks.
And I just had to talk to my father. I had to talk to my father and say, God, you got to help me get through this. And he gave me the grace. I owe everything that I have to the Lord, so I'm very grateful for God's grace to give me the mental strength and capacity to keep moving forward in the times where things were tough and rough, where
That's
a
what's
lot
up.
of people were giving up.
You're absolutely right. I've had a lot of I've done a few interviews during and after COVID had died down just a little bit. And everyone said the same thing. It stopped some. And for some, they took a breather and decided, you know what, let me revamp my career. Let me revamp my lifestyle. Let me revamp myself. So, everything happens for a reason. I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. And, it kind of seems like I had a guest, Shirley Murdoch, the songstress herself, she put it perfectly when she said, it's a time when God has to say, sit down and get it together, And I felt like this was maybe a time for
Mhm.
everybody to sit down and go back to the drawing board. And when the world opens back up, you should have new music, you should have new writing material, you should have new everything should be revamped because we've all had some time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, a person told me that they didn't see certain parts of their house in years, and they said, getting fired was the best thing that happened to them because they was actually able to spend more time with their grandchildren, and that they were able to spend more time at the house and see
Hmm.
certain parts of their house that they didn't see in years.
And
So
you're right. You're right. That's the sad part. It's not the sad part, but I've had many celebrities that I've interviewed that have said the exact same thing. That said, you know what? I've been traveling and on the road so much, I forgot what my house looked like. I forgot that I had this in here. I didn't know. Hell, some of them forgot what the husband and the kids look like.
Yep. So it's like you slow down to speed up.
Yes,
And
absolutely,
that's how I look at COVID-19. It's a way for you to reinvent yourself.
absolutely.
Slow down and speed up.
Now, when it comes to being an entrepreneur, how has that been for you? Since I know you don't work a normal 9 to 5, and you're doing your own thing. You're CEO, boss man, fashion designer. Listen, I couldn't even put all of your accolades and your accomplishments on the flyer. We had to focus on certain things, but you're doing it. You're out here making moves, and you're becoming successful as a Black man. How is it trying to stay focused these days for you?
I'm very excited. I feel like I have a second chance at life,
Mm.
and I'm going after everything. Like I want to be I want to embody the statement that says live full and die empty.
Ooh.
And like that's my life mission statement, is to live full and to die empty. And so I'll just go back to the drawing board and I say, okay, let me see what other gifts I got in me that I can use, and how I could develop these gifts into businesses,
Mm.
and that's how I do it. I'm just focused on living full and dying empty. Life is too short not to pursue your dreams. And I
Yes.
even put this in my Facebook story. I'll put in my Facebook story that I said a dream is a goal with a plan. A wish is a goal without a wish is a goal without a plan.
Mm.
So a dream is a goal with a plan. A wish is a goal without a plan. So if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Now, I asked you not to go there. I asked you.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
But you know what? I'm thankful for, because there's some people out here who need to hear this. COVID has brought about a lot of entrepreneurs, and I am loving it. I am loving the fact that people have been staying home and away from that 9 to 5 job to see, you know what? Let me get out. Let me go back to the drawing board, or let me get this draft out. Let me start this business I've always been wanting to start. It
Right.
is absolutely amazing. If you could tell somebody about, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to pursue a career in becoming an author and an illustrator and writing their own book? What advice would you give to someone?
Find a strong why.
Mm.
Find a strong why. Don't just do it for the money. Yes, that's going to be a byproduct of success.
Mhm.
The money is going to come, but if you don't have a strong why is like a foundation. It keeps you rooted, and when times get tough and you other people fall off and they quit because the seed that is sown is not deeply rooted. So if you could find a strong why, and even if it takes you a day or a week or a month, but find a strong why, because when times get tough, you're going to have to go back to that why.
Mm.
When things got tough, I always went back to my why, and my why kept me grounded, and my why kept me going and moving forward and and persevering through.
Mm.
But if you don't have a strong why, the seed, which is the reason why you're doing it, you're gonna quit if you don't have a strong why, and you're gonna
Mm.
give up,
Mm.
especially if you're just chasing numbers
Yeah.
and you're not chasing you're chasing numbers instead of like chasing what you love, your passion.
Mm.
Chase your passion, don't chase numbers.
Mm. Can I ask you what your strong why was?
My strong why was building a future for myself and for my future family, and being able to leave a legacy behind where I left a positive impact in the world. Because to me, the success is how many people is better off because I existed. How many people did I help along the
Mm.
way outside of myself? Did I give a word of encouragement? Did I give any advice? Was I able to use some of my time and go back and teach?
Yeah.
So
And so,
that was my strong why, and it always kept me rooted. I said, this is something that I'm doing to build my future. I created
yeah.
my own opportunity. So be opportunities not being available is not an excuse. Create an opportunity for yourself.
What's the hardest thing about doing what it is that you do? What's the hardest thing about that you'd say?
The hardest thing is not getting the support in the beginning stages, not really getting
Mm.
the support that sense of community, where we come together as a community and we support each other businesses, and we encourage each other, and also know that, look, if I'm a podcast host and if you're a podcast host, we're not in competition, because we have two different styles. Everybody has a different fingerprint in the
That's true.
world. So if you operate your business like the fingerprint that you have, you'll be unique and you'll stand out from your competition. You won't need to compete. You could
Mm.
collaborate instead. So if I have a podcast and you have a podcast, we're not in competition with each other, because you both have our own fingerprint mark in what we're doing with our audience. And we
That
should
is
be able
true.
to collaborate instead of looking at each other as competition.
And you know what? Lack of support is what stops a lot of people from either continuing a business or starting a business, because we'd like to think that we could have our family members involved and they would cheer us on, our home state or our hometown involved and cheer us on, and help support us. But in all truth, I've heard from, and again, I gotta throw in my past guests, and these are celebrity guests who've been celebrities since I was a child, and they would say the same thing: the support is not going to come from where you think it's going to come from or where you want it to come from. Your support is going to come from complete strangers 96% of the time. 96% of the time.
That's absolutely true. A prophet has no honor in their own town. A lot of times the people that they're so familiar with you that they can't even be open to being blessed by what you're doing and what you're contributing to the world.
That's facts. Because they know you. They see how you grew up. They see how you grew up. They know your past. They won't let you be great. As the saying says, they won't let you be great.
Right.
But you know what? I'm happy that
you don't need their permission to be great. A lot of us, we don't get the support, and we're waiting for validation, and we're waiting for other people permission to be great. You go out there and you be great, no matter what anybody else say. You have to be willing to stand up during the fire, because nobody achieved their dreams on a bed full of roses. You're going to have to be able to go through some things. You're going to have to be able to go through the trenches, because freedom isn't free.
Now I ask you again. Now you done came on in, you done brought the heat with you now, but you know what? I love it, because it's somebody that needs to hear this out there. A lot of people, again, there are a lot of people out there who seek validation from so many people, and to see, are they going to like this? Are they going to approve? What are they going to say? And it stops them. It makes them stagnant, and it makes them second guess what God already put in their spirit to do to begin with. It makes people second guess, because that is stronger. And, you talk about, when you talk about faith, and you talk about, how strong is your faith when you have to have validation and clarity from the masses?
See, and that's the thing, right? Because I love Tony Robbins. He says that business is 80% psychology and I think 20% strategy. And it is so true. We go through different things in life. And that's why I said it's really important to have a foundation as an entrepreneur, to understand your why, and to write out your life mission statement, and to hold yourself accountable and say, okay, this is my life mission statement, and this is what I want to live out every single day. So let me commit myself to my life mission statement. That will give you some type of foundation so that you can so that you don't need the validation of others. But when you don't have a foundation, you need the validation of others when you don't have a foundation.
That is true.
Because you're unstable.
That is true. Ooh, you better teach him a little something, just a little something. You better teach him something, Mr. Smith. So you have done a phenomenal job. Do you speak? Do you do motivational speaking?
I want to. That's gonna be something that I'm planning on, something that I do want to get into doing, motivational speaking, because I just have like a real passion for helping people, so and encouraging people and letting them know, like, look, I'm nothing special. I just applied myself more than the average. That's all. I was willing to do what others weren't willing to do, and I applied myself more than the average. And I stayed consistent. Consistency is not a sexy word, but is a word that is necessary for every entrepreneur.
Listen, I find it quite attractive, if you ask me. Listen, consistency is a very sexy thing. That's very attractive. Listen, I don't know what Mr. Smith telling y'all, but I'm gonna tell you right now, consistency in relationships, that's sexy. Consistency in the business world, that's sexy. Do what you say you're gonna do and hold yourself accountable. Last person I had interviewed, Maisha Rush, was saying the exact same thing. She holds people accountable. If you're trying to become an entrepreneur, you got to hold yourself accountable for everything that you're trying to do and everything that you're working towards and everything that you've been through already.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah, you have to. And one of the things that really helps is like, okay, you put in all of this time for what they told you to do out there in the world,
mm,
right?
mm, mm.
You went to school every day and you got your college degree. I mean, if you could be consistent with that, why you can't
Yes,
do it for yourself?
I know that's right. For some, what? Like, I'm looking for my church fan. All I got is this pocketbook. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you can do it
That's
for
some church
somebody else,
iced tea. Yeah,
that's some church. That's what that is, Mr. Smith. But you know what? You're speaking the truth. If you can go out here, what made me decide to walk away? You have it in your gut. You know you have this great idea. You know you're talented at doing this, and you know you can have the possibility to make money, but you're afraid because of the stability of this 9 to 5 that you've been working on for years. You've got so much stability. You've got your 401k, your extra health benefits coming in, and walking away from the sure into the unsure is scary business. It's
it is
scary,
scary.
but that's
You
where
have to
consistency
reprogram your
comes
mind.
in. Facts.
You have to reprogram your mind. You have to, because we've been trained from
Mm,
a child to be an employee. We've been trained. When you go to school, you gotta be at school at a certain time, right?
mm.
The school really prepares you for the workforce.
Facts.
So you have
Facts.
to be in school at a certain time, and then you have 12 o'clock where you take your lunch break, and then after lunch break you go back to the classroom. So you've been trained from a child to be an
Facts.
employee, whether you realize it or not. So now you have to untrain
Mm,
yourself from being an employee and start listening to people who are where you want to be.
that's
And that
right.
and that is like the core root of what Brooklyn Astronaut is really about, is mentorship. Finding
Mm,
a mentor in what it is that you're passionate about. Listen to somebody who has a track record of success, who is where you want to be in life, right? And follow them, right? Model their system.
facts. That's right. And I hear that all the time. And you got to surround yourself with people who've either been where you have been or are going where you are trying to go. Those are the kinds of people that you got to surround yourself with, because therein is where, and you know what, even if you're not strong enough to find a support system that way, if you ask, he will put everybody in your space that you need, that's going to help support you, that's going to help push you, and is going to help give you the drive you need to achieve what you need to achieve.
Right. And another thing that I really want to add
Mhm.
is that, sometimes you're like, well, man, I don't see too many people that have the same mindset as I do. Look, you don't have to physically be with somebody to associate with them.
Facts.
Association is who you listen to.
Mm,
So you could go on YouTube and you could start associating with Tony Robbins and spend some time with Tony Robbins and listen to Tony Robbins. And as you listen to him, that will be your association.
mm,
You could go and type in different world leaders that are making a huge impact in the world and listen to them.
mm.
And that will be your association. So association is who you listen to. You don't have to be physically present to associate. So
You're
if
right.
those people are not around, go on a computer and associate with them online.
Facts. I know that's right. You better say it. Because one thing, but you know what? The one advantage that we have now, business wise, and when it comes to being an entrepreneur, is Google. Google, Google, Google. I tell my mother all the time, Mom, is there something you want to know about the business you're trying to start? Go online and Google it. Somebody in the world at some point in time has asked that exact same question. And you don't have to feel down on yourself because you don't know certain things. Hell, there's a lot that you don't know about being an entrepreneur, especially if you don't come from entrepreneurship. You have to start at the bottom. You got to
Yep.
start preparing yourself. And like you said, it's a train thing that we go through. And if you're not willing, you have to be strong enough, first of all, to be able to break that cycle. You got to be. Or else you're always going to do the same things that you've always done, which is work a 9 to 5 and make somebody else's rich, because that's all you're doing is making
Yeah.
somebody else's dreams come true.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
We
You're
and
absolutely right.
you ain't go you now you done took me way off course. Now that's it, Mr. Smith. Now that's it. Now that's it. We here to talk
Okay, I
about your
promise no
amazing
more.
we here to talk about this amazing book of yours and how proud of you we are, given things that are going on and things that you have gone through. What are you working on these days?
So I have the audio book. The audio book is going to be coming out really soon, you know, and I'm going to be working on the other series. But
Mm,
I'm diving into other business ventures. I'm diving into my venture with music.
mm,
I've been writing music for 14 years. So I'm diving into that now and looking to do a music video and just start taking my pain and turning it into income.
mm.
So that's what I've been focusing on lately. And yeah, getting into my music is going to be my new business venture.
So not only are you an author and an illustrator and a motivate, I'm gonna call you what it is. I'm gonna call you what you are. You're a motivational speaker, and I'm gonna say it. And I'm a firm believer in putting things out in the atmosphere. You surround yourself with positive people who see things in you that you may not be able to see within yourself. And I'm gonna call you a motivational speaker because I see that and I feel that coming from you. And it's
I received that. Thank you.
you're welcome. It's so much that a lot of us can do, and it's amazing that you're able to achieve everything that you set out to achieve, and I'm sure, and then some. Let me ask you, Mr. Smith, if you could tell somebody something right now in regards to wanting to specifically just get out there, what would you say to them to encourage somebody, listen, to just get out there and just do it? What would you say to them?
You have to first get, it's like you need a purge. You got to listen to I used to listen to a lot of motivational speakers on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube to just get a purge and to retrain my thought process. I realized that I had to retrain my thought process. So you have to detox all of the negativity that you're dealing with, and find Abraham Hicks is also a favorite of mine. I still listen to Abraham Hicks. She's awesome. She's amazing. Like, just find like different speakers that
Mm-hmm.
you can listen to on a daily and on a weekly basis to just first detox the negativity. Because if you try and jump into it without detoxing it, is going to be an issue where if you have the self-limiting belief pop up,
Thanks.
the opportunity comes, self-limiting belief pop up, you start having doubt. So if you don't detox the negativity, then you're gonna continue to have those self limiting beliefs about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not good enough. Then you are not good enough if that's what you speak out your mouth.
Mm.
So you have to first detox that. You have to get rid of the stinking thinking and replace it with limitless thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can do that is by listening to people who are on that stage where they are living limitless, because they don't have any self-belief limiting beliefs that's stopping them from doing what they want to do. They're moving through it, they're pushing through it, you know. So you gotta model yourself and find speakers that you can listen to and first get that cleanse out.
Absolutely.
Meditation, things like meditation. Maybe you don't have that much time. Just take 5 minutes to just be in quietness and silence, just to
Mm.
be still.
Mm. Listen, I'm gonna need you to come back. I'm gonna need you to put on a
I would
t-shirt,
love to,
and I'm gonna
definitely.
need you to
Yeah.
come back so we can uplift and motivate some people out here who need it. I'm gonna do a special another in my city with you in the very very near future, if you don't mind, because
I'd love it.
I love it. Um, I'm gonna ask you a question I ask everybody I interview, Mr. Smith. If you could look your younger self in the mirror right now, today, what would you say to you?
God loves you. Don't stop. Don't let the naysayers stop you. Don't let the naysayers stop you, because regardless of what you feel at this time in your life, life is gonna get better. You may not think life is gonna get better, because it just seemed like when it rains it pours, when it rains it pours. But life is gonna get better. Hang in there, and keep doing what you're doing. Just stay consistent.
Mm. You hear that, younger Mr. Smith? You hear that? Mr. Smith, tell everybody how they can get your book, how they can find you, how they can conversate with you. Tell everybody all your social media handles, your platform, your telephone number, your social, your dating site. If you're trying to date, give it all to them.
So www.brooklynastronaut.ent.com. You could get a copy of the book there. We have some really cool merchandise too. Dream big, start small. T-shirts and sweatpants and cups and things like that. You can also follow me on Instagram, SPR_books. And I also have another Instagram, Brooklyn_astronaut. So you can follow me there. And I have a Facebook page, Brooklyn Astronaut. So you can follow me on Facebook, and you can follow me on Instagram.
And there you have it, period, at the end of that. No comma, there's a period. Mr. Smith, I have enjoyed this interview on today. I am so glad that I've had the opportunity for you to come into my personal space. You can never be too grown, and you can never learn too much. And I've learned so much from you. I've learned how to push through, how to, accept responsibility, how to hold yourself accountable. We've learned how to, keep things, how to build a strong support system, even when you don't know how. You've taught us a lot today, and I'm thankful for crossing paths with you on today. And I know we're going to cross paths again, because I like the energy and I like what we're giving. And we went way off topic, but somebody needed to hear it for today. Everything happens for a reason.
Yes. And it's a pleasure. I've been waiting, been so excited for this interview for a very long time with you. So it's a pleasure always.
Absolutely. Now listen, now I got to go get me some fries after this, because I'm overexcited. Oh my goodness, I love it. And I'm going to show some love. I'm going to help you promote your book and everything you got going on. And I'm going to see you back here and make that announcement as soon as you and I link up and we put that together, or me and your publicist. If you don't want to talk to me up front, so what? I'm going to find you anyway, and we're going to talk about this.
Okay, no problem.
I love it. I'm looking forward to it. Mr. Smith, you have an amazing day, and I want to thank you so much, and you keep being as great as you are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too.
Thank you guys so much for watching In My City. Today we had a phenomenal guest, and sometimes if you provide the right energy and you provide the right atmosphere, you get all kinds of keys, you get all kinds of jewels, you get all kinds of trinkets, and that's the way it happens on In My City. Today we had special guest Jermain Smith, which he is an author, a publisher, he's illustrator, he's everything. He's fashion designing, he's got music coming out, he's doing so much. I hope that you guys or someone out there has been able to take away from today's interview some jewels, because listen, he dropped a few that I wasn't ready for. Y'all saw me grab my church purse. That's what this is. I don't know if it's a church purse, but it's my church purse. And let me tell you how I know it's a church purse. Off subject is because I got mints in here, and the mint's been in there since the last time I used this purse, and so have the gum. It's a church purse. Thank y'all so much for hanging and watching me, hanging out with me on In My City. And let me tell you, this shirt that I'm wearing, I know it's I don't know if y'all can see it right here, but this right here stands for more wet. This is my brother's line. And I always try to show love. If you got merchandise, if you got earrings, listen, if you got hair, if you got eyelashes, I wear it. I do it all. It's a lot of people that are watching me. And plus I'm 6'2". Come on now. How else they not gonna see it? Hit me up. I'm trying to tell you. Continue watching In My City. We've got some great guests coming up, and I'm going to share that with you guys later on this week. I have a group of young, talented African-American guys who can sing their asses off. You hear me? If I was at least 20 years younger, it's all I'm going to say. Y'all young girls out there, y'all, that's all I'm going to say about that before somebody send me to jails. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for rocking with me on In My City. Have an amazing rest of your Monday. See ya.